All right, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Crypto Truth, where I give you the truth as I see it. I'm just gonna quickly, I say quickly, but I do have a couple of things I want to bring up and talk about. First and foremost, let's go ahead and I want to kind of talk about what's happening with the hot token, what's going on with Holofuel, my thoughts on exactly what's happening here. Um, I think I mentioned before that they have changed the interface of the Holoports. So right now, the interface to where you can get paid in Holo Fuel, it's a better interface. It looks really cool. It seems like they're really starting to get things going when it comes to the Holoports and Holo Fuel. So that's great. However, I do have one concern. If and this is not really a concern, but really a head scratcher. I guess things are about to really happen really, really fast because I'm just trying to understand some things here. And you guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. If the launch of Holo Fuel is coming out in August time frame, August September time frame, and my question is the same kind of sort of question I had before. If in order to switch over to Holofuel or to have any Holofuel at all, you'd have to be able to have hot. Um, for those of us who are for so far, Coinbase and all of the major exchanges in the United States of America do not even offer hot. So my question is how, again, I stated this before, but how are people in the US supposed, in businesses, organizations, whatever it is, supposed to take part in this economy, or if there is no hot available, if hot is not available? And we all know that hollow fuel is not going to be available directly through exchanges. That won't be happening. At least they're saying from six to half 6 months to a year, where they can guarantee it 1 to 1. There's just a lot there. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening in the background, because things are gonna have to move very, very quickly. Like, is Coinbase just automatically out of nowhere, or other major exchanges in the U.S. automatically out of nowhere say, okay, hot is available? Um, and is it going to be available almost the exact same time? And what I'm guessing is that it's going to be available around the exact same time that Holo Fuel comes out. So Holo Fuel comes out overall. Let's just say they're having their launch. I have to say launch because I don't know what beta number. But Holo Fuel comes out for the launch, right? At that specific time, Hot then becomes available in the United States. During that time, there's going to be a short time of people trying to understand exactly what's going on, right? Because right now, everybody, a lot of people who aren't familiar with the project is like, oh, Hot is a hot token and it's on Holochain. It's built on a Holochain eco. There's a lot of people who are confused about exactly what's happening there, and I think that some clarity needs to be brought about. Conversely, I kind of sort of need to talk about what's going to happen in the markets, or what I think is going to happen in the markets, because all of this is kind of confusing. In my timeline, in my mind, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, and we're definitely going to find out all of this stuff probably within 3 or 4 months from now. But in my mind, Hollow Fuel is going to be available. Hot, on the exact same time, Hot is going to be available in the United States in exchanges. There is a chance that Hot could be available a month or 3 weeks to a month prior to Hollow Fuel coming out. In which case, I think that from just from a uh, just from a how should I say? Uh, I don't want to say that word. Just from a market angle, we'll have hot go on a tear. This always happens. This happens to every coin, right? Every coin or token, there's always a Coinbase effect, or Robinhood effect, or whatever effect that happens there. And that's going to be the first bump. I do think that as people educate themselves, the price of it will go down. And then, now mind you, we still haven't hit the bull run yet, right? We're not even in a bull run. I don't think we're even a quarter of a way inside of a bull run. So keep that in the back of your minds as well. But this is step one. I do think that once people figure out, okay, what's happening here, I think we're going to get more information of what's happening with HOT, who are connected to Holochain, who's using HOT and Holofuel, like who's going to be part of the ecosystem, what companies and what organizations are going to be part of the ecosystem. And I think all of these things are going to start to come to light, and it's going to be very interesting to find out exactly how that works. So while all of that is happening, I do believe that we're going to get a bump up in price. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. I'm only talking about HOT right now, and then I'm going to get into Holofuel because there's some things I got to talk about Holofuel. So HOT I believe is going to have a bump, the Coinbase effect. I do think it's going to flatten out, and I do think it's going to go down. Now, what I don't know is I don't know if it hits Coinbase, and then once everyone is familiar with what's happening with the swap or Holofuel, and once we find out who's going to be hosting and or asking for a hosting power and all that good stuff, right? Who's going to be a part of the ecosystem? Once we find all of that stuff out, then I think we're going to really start seeing things move as far as HOT and Holofuel really in the beginning, it's not going to fluctuate, right? Because I think they have to figure out exactly what the balance is going to be as far as, because we all know that there's only going to be a certain amount of Holofuel available depending on how much hosting is actually needed, right? So that's that kind of equilibrium type of thing. But anyway, HOT, on the other hand, as we all know, has a fixed value. And we all know that that's going to be connected to Holofuel, the hosting power, Holofuel, that stuff. So what I believe is there's going to be a bump up in price once Coinbase effect. I think that I don't know exactly when. This is that whole timeline thing of how close things are. And a matter of fact, let me go back. Let's rewind back in time, because a lot of people were very, very confused. Not confused. All of us were. A lot of people who had the HOT token were like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because we didn't understand exactly what Holochain was, right? We didn't understand exactly where Holofuel was. They were very, very secretive, and I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, you're bashing our project." They were very secretive of exactly where they were in the process and the stage. And everybody who had the HOT token, this is where a lot of people, especially people from Turkey. By the way, I'm gonna talk about them as well. I have a little bit to say here today, but that's where they kind of got messed up, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I actually, at that time, I don't anymore, but at that time, I actually had some HOT in a Turkish exchange. I don't think it's available anymore on that exchange, but I had taken that out a long time ago. At that point, for some strange reason, they were attacking exchanges left and right, and they were shutting them down. And I'm like, nope, got to get my HOT. So first off, remember, we were in Binance. Then we got kicked out of the United States in Binance. Binance got kicked out of the US. So then we had to transfer our HOT somewhere else. Then I transferred my HOT over to the Turkish exchange. Then they started to have some things going on. And so then I transferred it back over to... I can't remember the exchange. Actually, I do remember the exchange. I'm just not going to say anything. But I took it to that exchange. And now, so we have to do all of this shit in the United States of America, and we don't fully know what the fuck is going on. And that was the frustration then. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's honest frustration, right? Because we had no idea what the hell was going on. Now, some people, because we were thinking, okay, well, we're gonna take our high, and at the time we were still trying to figure out, oh, should we swap? Should we not swap? What are we doing? We still like that a little bit. I think people got the general idea of what's happening here, because, well, I'm not gonna get into that. So we went through all of that in the past, and that was the last major bull run. And that bull run, right? If you had 1 million hot, which was, I mean, just pennies at the time, right? If you had 1 million hot, you had 100,000. Was it 100,000? Because it went to 3 cents. Was it 30,000? I think 30,000 in the account, something like that. Anyway, my point is that you make quite a bit, right? Now, you guys know my story. I was unable to withdraw. There was a lot going on in my life and a lot going on with the exchanges. And so I was unable to withdraw anything or do anything. Now, this is just market. Now, this isn't even, we're not even getting, so for some of you guys who are like, oh, that's all he does is talk about price. You guys know damn well from my history all the way up until now that I am thoroughly involved with the Holochain project and the Holo project. So it's not like it's just about price, but this is about understanding exactly what you are getting into, because it's actually really, really confusing. I had a buddy, I'm going to continue on. I know I keep getting sidetracked, but I'm going to say this real quick. I had a buddy back about 4 or 5 years ago, and he was, I was trying to explain to him that I had got into cryptocurrency, and I'm interested, like, understanding these different projects and how cool they were. And he was like, oh, China doesn't even like it, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's giving me all of this pushback, like he's like some kind of fucking genius, right? And then a couple years later, he comes back. He doesn't even remember. Like, I have friends, I don't even know if they even listen to what I say, but he's talking to me. He's like, dude, you got to see this, man. This is so awesome. So I'm at this event, and they couldn't take cash, and they were like, well, that's okay. Well, we'll take just cryptocurrency. And he went in and got cryptocurrency, and he sent the cryptocurrency, and they showed him step by step on how to shit. He's like, dude, that is so cool, And I'm looking at him like, oh, it was Monero. It was Monero of all things, right? And I'm looking at him like, what? What? I think that people listen to too much I think that people listen and watch too much TV, that they cannot have critical thinking skills for themselves, do the proper research for themselves so they can see where the world is going and how they can adapt to it, instead of immediately having this negative reaction and really try to understand. It took somebody to really jack him up by, they didn't jack him up, but I'm just saying, oh, you want to pay for something? Pay through Monero. So it literally took somebody to take him and say, this is what we need from you. And then he was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, ding, 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 I got it. I see how this works now. There's no more, and now there's nothing about, oh, well, China doesn't want to accept Bitcoin anymore, or they're shutting down Bitcoin is ruining the economy, or which. And I'm not getting too much into that because there's a lot going on with Bitcoin energy and stuff like that. So I don't want to get too deep into that. But my point is that it is taking people a long time to just, and I don't understand, because you guys know that I am not the most technological guy out there, right? I'm not an intelligent, I'm like not a tech savvy, super tech savvy guy. I'm not a genius. I'm not. But I will tell you this. I can critically think and have reason and have, I have critical thinking skills for myself in my life, because my life is important. And I'm going to try to figure out, okay, I have something here. I don't care what it is. I have energy, and I'm exchanging that energy into something, whether it is fiat, money, digital currency. I don't give a fuck what Pokemon cards, whatever it is. My energy is being transferred into something else, and that is something else is tangible. Now, is that going to last a long time? If I work 8 hours and then get 25 cents to go to the bubblegum machine or to the, to get a bubble, 25 cents for a bubblegum, that's not equal value. And so I'm understanding all of these things about what's happening with inflation, what's happening with what we call currency and money. And I started looking and doing research and understanding what's happening with the Holochain project. I don't want to hear nothing from you guys about Scepter or the MetaCurrency project. I'm very well aware that Eric Harris Braun and Arthur Brock, they've been doing a lot in their past. And they've been researching this stuff a lot in their past. And I'm not going to insult their intelligence, because I do believe, and I'm kind of, how should I say this? From what I've listened to them, from the things that I've heard from them, and from their classes that they've had together, and the things that they've done together, I would say I'm about 80 to 90% along with everything that they are saying, in agreement with what they're saying. And trust me, for me, that's a lot. That is a hell of a lot. So I have confidence in this project. So I'm going to now get back on track, because I did get way off track, but I'm getting back on track here. So that's what happened to us 3 or 4 years ago, right? The price just shot straight up. And then I had a lot of people who were like, they were subscribers. They're like, oh my God, dude, you're right, man. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is an amazing project. But here's the thing. Even in my videos in the past, I'm like, I don't know where the hell we are. I don't know whether I don't know whether they're finished. I don't know whether they're going to beta. What does that entail? People are like, there was beta 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. What the hell's going on? So we got this whole thing separate, was Holochain and Holo, and who's in charge of what? And they're in, like, it's a big mess. And so now it is important for everyone at this moment to make sure that you do research. Calm yourselves down. And I'm talking to me as well. Calm down. And really fully understand what is happening in our world. And so what I'm trying to tell you people is that when it comes to the hot token, and understanding where it's going to get its value, and understand Holofuel, and understanding how that value is going to be created. You have to, people are still don't even understand blockchain technology. And by the way, some people understand or don't understand, maybe they understand the technical side of things, but don't understand the philosophical side of things. And that's what's crazy, because here in America, and I'm going to say this, and this is the dead truth. There are very few people who are philosophers here in America. There are very few people who are really thinking about, there are some people who are thinking about conspiracy theories and all of that. Oh, did we really enter the moon? Or did we really, we got all of that bullshit going on. But people, are they really thinking, and especially here in America, on average, on normal, everyday, people are just trying to survive. They're not trying to figure out, they're not thinking, oh my God, I'm working 40 hours a week. They know that they are not happy. They know that inflation is going up, and they know they got to continue to, because right now the whole game is real estate here in America, right? And so the whole system is broken, and we know this. But how do we break that system, right? We break the system by having first and foremost, a new way of not just thinking, but a new format of the way we exchange value or ideas. So it's very important that we have to have the framework for it. Yes, it's a great idea, right? A lot the votes are coming. not vote, excuse me. The elections are coming up, right? And it is a great idea for all of these presidents to come up here and say, oh, well, I got this idea, and that idea. And there's no groundwork, there's no framework to ever make it happen. And so what I understand that Holochain and Holo organization is attempting to create a framework to make something happen so that people have the ability to be able to create and create a different world and an economy for themselves. I understand that. So let's get back to HOT. I do believe that as time moves forward, let's say 6 months to a year, in Holofuel and HOT, where they now decoupled, they're no longer one-to-one, right? And so now we're going to figure out where the value really lies. And I personally believe that HOT is going to behave like a store of value. And I believe that Holofuel is going to handle a lot of the microtransactions. There are a lot of companies, or I should say maybe there are a lot of companies and organizations who will actually be using Holofuel, but not necessarily using Holofuel to for hosting. But that is the initial way it's going to be used. But have a lot of different cryptocurrencies on Holochain, right? Different cryptocurrencies on Holochain that that will provide certain real value to and attach real value to certain things. And so I do think as far as energy is concerned, I'm not going to get too much into that, but there's a lot there. Now, as I stated before, what happened 3 or 4 years ago? What happened 3 or 4 years ago? Some people could not get their money out. Some it's the HOT token, they're HOT out. And now I'm looking at, and I'm there's so many questions going on, and I'm not going to fall for this a second time. As far as what the hell is going on, I'm not doing that. If at some point I don't understand what the hell's going on, I am going to be asking questions furiously. To really find out like what I should be doing, because if you're going to create an ecosystem, if you're going to create something massive, which I believe that they will be, and I do believe that they will be successful, but if you're going to do this, then you're going to have to be very, very clear on what your intentions are and what you are trying to do. Because if you're not clear on what your intentions are or what you're trying to do, you are not going to be trusted. And anything that you do or say after the fact is going to be hard to make up for it. And a lot of people, they feel like they've been slighted by the Holochain and Holo organization. And I stated this in the past, and I knew it was going to happen because they didn't say anything. There's a certain way to do things, to say things, and not necessarily in a mean way or a bad way, but to really clarify things. Now, when it comes to, I totally understand, when it comes to money and finance and treating HOT, the HOT token, because it's on exchanges like the stock market, I understand not answering questions such as those, because, okay, when Lambo, like, we get it. There are going to be people of all colors, cultures, of all kinds of backgrounds, different backgrounds. There's going to be greedy people that are involved in the Holochain and Holo atmosphere. You cannot get rid of greed. You just cannot, right? There's going to be people who are like, hey, you know what? I got an unlimited amount of HOT. They have, these are people that got some money. I'm not one of them, but, they got people out there. They got 15, 20 million HOT. No problem. It's no problem to them. And so, HOT reaches 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent, and they're going to be good to go. And by the way, if you're asking me if the value of HOT will ever be that high, absolutely. It's almost like it's honestly, I don't really understand why it is so hard for people to understand how the world works and how to accept the way the world works, right? We have We have Dogecoin, we have XRP, we have Bitcoin, we have a lot of these different things. And I want to ask you guys a question, and please answer it for me. Exactly what are these things providing? What are these coins and tokens? What are they even attached to that's providing anything, that's actually giving something back? And please, don't say energy, don't say security. Now, I will say that because a lot of cryptocurrencies are run on blockchain, they work so much better than TradFi. So this is not a comparison from cryptocurrencies to TradFi. This is a comparison to what exactly are we doing with the technology that we have. Is it sustainable, and is it an efficient way to move forward, right? So that is what we're looking at right now. I know that there are a lot of people who are like, oh my God, is this dude a Bitcoin fan? Does he hate Bitcoin? Does he? I am a person who I just take a broad look. I took a macro perspective, and I said, okay, what is happening here? And then I look at the different things that are happening throughout the world, and I say, okay, what's going to happen here? And then I also do proper research, right? I do research and finding out where all the dots lie. And yes, there's a couple of people from listening to Kitco News, to David Lynn, I believe his name is, to even Guy. I call him Guy Sensei, but he's not really my sensei. Guy from Coin Bureau. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of people. I get information from all Modern Investor. Because he just basically talks about the everyday news. But I get all of my information and ideas, and I clump them, and I get all of the information that I possibly can, and I say, okay, let's make some logical stuff out of it. Oh, TechPath. I think TechPath is another one of them. But so, what are we doing here at this moment? Well, there's a lot of positive things that can happen with the hot token. And I'm extremely excited about Holochain and Holofuel. Now, we all know, and for some of you guys who don't know, there is a phone by Hello Vola. They're having I don't know what's called, a Quintus or whatever it's called, but basically the apps, which is Relay, and I forgot the other one, what it was called. It was something else. It was something else dealing with forgot. Anyway, but there's going to be an Holochain app automatically on the phone. And I actually, I didn't just listen to the part where Matt Schutte was talking. I actually sat there and I listened to the entire thing. Yes, I was playing video games because sometimes they were talking in German and then they switched over to English. And but when they hit the English parts, I was really paying attention. But look, there is an extreme use case for the holochain technology, and I've stated this before, and I've told you guys this before in my videos before, that this is a new way of communication. Bringing about a new way of communication will bring the world closer, will bring better ideas, and bring communities closer. So we're gonna figure all of that out now. Going back to what I was saying about people from Turkey, right? So there were a lot of people from Turkey who got involved, were involved, and they thought the technology was great. I don't know whether it was because a lot of people from the Holochain organization or Holo organization were over there. I don't know exactly what was going on, but I do know that they invested quite a bit. And I do know that a lot of people over there lost money, I lost money because they were really hoping, okay, we're going to get in something on the ground up. It's going to help me. I'm going to be a part of something that's actually attached to real value, right? Because Holofuel is going to be attached to something that is actually tangible and real, what we call physical infrastructure, right? And, well, that didn't happen. And then people were really confused about exactly where they were. And there were some setbacks. So there was a lot of stuff that wasn't going on. I'm really hoping that that won't be the case. This year is going to be and has to be the year of, out of all of the 5 to 6 to 7, uh, well, I'm gonna say there's 6 to 7 years of me making videos, because a lot of my old videos got when I was living in my car and stuff like that, and my phone changed and whatever. But anyway, a lot of stuff got deleted. My point is that out of all of this time, we are finally coming to the point to where the rubber meets the road, and now we're going to find out what exactly is going to happen, where value is going to lie, and how this is really important, how they're going to organize and bring their company to a new to a another level, because we have Holochain, and that's going to be funded by the Holo organization, in which, if that's going to be funded by the Holo organization, they're going to have to be receiving actually some kind of funds, right? We all know about the 1% fee. But anyway, my point is that there's a lot going on. There are a lot of questions that we're all going to have, and I'm excited. I do believe that if we're talking again, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying before. Holofuel. I do believe that we're really going to figure out. I think the Holochain organization is going to figure out, or the Holo organization is going to figure out exactly where the value lies and how much value actually lies in it. And here's the thing that's going to scare people the most, because I actually seen it. I'm going to show you guys the metrics, but most of the people who have the hot token are only a very few people. They are whales, right? So there's only about, I think the last time they checked was 119. Was that 119? I know you guys are out there with the statistics better than I have, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm hoping that we all get some information, and yeah. Anyway, I always say this: please, 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 do your own research. Do your research. Do your research. It is extremely important that you do your own research. I do understand that a lot of people don't even really know how to do proper research, right? They just go on there and they be like, oh, well, this person says this and this person says that. They go by one or two people, or they go by what's happening, what a couple of the elites say, right? Do you guys remember? I'm gonna go ahead and if you guys are finished listening to this, I'm done with talking about. Do you guys remember when was it Mark Cuban and a couple of others? They were extremely against Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and they didn't understand it. And I'm still not a fan of NFTs, but I do understand where NFTs are not necessarily pictures. So that's where, yeah. Because at first I was like, what the fuck is this? But anyway, everybody was against it. And now we're starting to see a slow change. Oh. And so what is going to happen when people finally understand, wait a second. So this is going to be something that is actually tied to something physical, and that you can actually receive and give goods for, receive and exchange value as far as goods and services, right? And so the lights are slowly going to come on, but we're getting to that point, people. This bull run here, and I got to talk about the bull run. This bull run here is going to be the largest bull run, the most significant bull run that we have ever seen in the crypto space. I am telling you this. I believe this, and I think it's going to be, barring some kind of black swan event. Matter of fact, honestly, if there is a black swan event, I believe that it's going to be even increase. It's going to increase real projects, the value of real projects even more, right? So, but anyway, aside from, look, you guys got to read the tea leaves. And a lot of people are not reading the tea leaves. They're reading what the news stations telling them. They're listening to. They're not having their own critical thinking. They're not critically thinking about what's happening, what's going to happen. I do believe that the future is going to be in microtransactions. That and that doesn't come from me. That comes from me doing research and then also agreeing with a person that I was listening to on Kit Code News years ago. So again, as I stated before, people, you gotta continue to research. You gotta continue to do these things, because if you don't, you're really gonna get left behind. And when you're left behind, that's your look here. That's your ass. I done told my friends already. My friends and family, they already know that should things take off, because I don't have a lot of money, but should things take off and should things go where I need to go, should I have things all set up, guess what, people? It is what it is. That's your ass. And I can't help people's I cannot there's always people talking about taking a horse and leading them to water, but you can't make them to drink. I can't even fucking grab the reins of the horse and bring them anywhere close, because they, instead of doing their own research, they're depending on people to do research for them. They're depending on, well, I need you to do this and this and this for me. I'm not trying to, me personally, I'm not trying to convince nobody else. Nobody else. Hey, you on your own. And my friends and family, they know for a fact. They may hear me talk about it, but I'm not trying to convince nobody. You do whatever the fuck you want to do in your life. But I do understand that there's something called energy, and I do understand that there's something called I do understand that there's a way to obtain that energy in a physical form, and I do understand that there's a way to maintain that energy and possibly have that energy grow, whether it's monetary or any other kind of form. But you really have to think of life in that way. But anyway, I can't help. I can't help a lot of people. I can't help everybody. The only thing I can do is just sit here, jibber jabber here on the mic, and that's it. All right, I'm done, you guys. As I always say, do your own research, do your own research, do your own research, and last but not least, please, above all else, you guys, stay safe out there, okay? Bye, you guys.